So I'm going to pull up the answers. We're going to add in the extra stuff. What was the extra stuff in this lesson? Colby?
So it said the shape model, like each fraction work on, we had to do a decimal.
The decimal, okay. So up here, check the ones that are given. Check those answers, and then we'll talk about the decimal answers. Who can give me the decimal to number 1? Brennan?
0.4.
0.4 is correct. Number 2, Emma?
0.8.
0.8. Number 3, Easton?
0.45.
0.45. And number 4, Mila?
0.76.
0.76. Are there questions about any of those 4? None of them. Okay. Go ahead and turn the page. At the top, it just asked for the decimals. They're already up here, so just check them. We didn't add anything extra to this one. Or did we add fraction? No. Okay. You just got some extra work.
I did 2. I did fractions, and I'm like, uh-oh, I forgot that.
Yep, that's fine. Okay, why is raise your hand if you missed number 6. Anybody? Okay, why do you think I would think some people would miss number 6 if they missed any? Aubrey?
Because usually, because you just do 0.7.
Yeah, because we need it to be to the hundredths place, which is how many decimal places? Caleb? 2. So we need to turn a single-digit number, 7, into a 2-digit number. So what do you think a common wrong answer is? Waylon? 0.70. But when you guys see 70, your brain doesn't say 7, it says 70. So to make it say 7, we have to put the 0 in front. Okay, I'm going to move on down.
I miscounted it. I thought it was.
You didn't have to do 9 or 10. Number 11 were those 2. What is wrong with the second answer? Grayson?
It has 2 zeros.
So how would I say that second answer? 32 thousandths. Yep. Okay, questions on that one? Audrey? Okay. Okay.
Number 6, if I miscounted, I thought it said 8. Just, I was like, in the rush thing, I said things to do, and I miscounted 8.
Okay, turn to page 33. This one should have everything that we were supposed to do. So I'm just going to pull it up. Check those answers. It gives me the model, it gives me the fraction, it gives me the words and the decimal. So check those ones. Okay, any questions over those 4? There's the decimals up at the top. Questions over any of those?
Nope.
Okay, now number 11 I told you could mark out, but it's really not that hard. It's just kind of a weird question. So we're going to talk about it. It said Trudy is making a picture frame and needs nails that are 0.375 inch. At the hardware store, nails are measured in fractions of an inch. There's one nail that the label, like the sticker, says 125 over 1,000 inch. There's one that says 25 over 100 inch. And there's one that says 375 over 1,000 inch. Which one should she buy? That's kind of a weird question, but what is it actually asking them to do in that question? Kylie?
It's kind of like comparing, like finding what the fraction is.
Yeah, it gave them a decimal and it asked for the fraction form. It just said it in a really weird way. Yeah. Okay, did we mark out 12? No. Okay, so that one was the same thing. It gave it in words. And it asked us for the fraction and the decimal. Now, I'm going to assume some people missed 13 because they didn't read carefully. Why is the answer 65 hundredths and not 35 hundredths? Tyson?
Because it says the decimal in the word form of the buses that were not late.
Yeah. Right here it says this number is for how many were late. Who can give me that using the words out of? Callie?
35 out of 100.
Yeah, so 35 out of 100 were late. And this says it wants the fraction, decimal, and word form that were not late. So if 35 out of 100 were late, what math problem did you have to do? Go ahead.
100 minus 35.
100 minus 35 means 65 out of 100 were not late.
I just looked at 100
Yeah. So that one you just had to read carefully. A little bit of a brain builder. And then number 14, again, you had to read carefully because you were telling me which one is not correct. So it was the only one that did not work was B. Okay, questions on any of those? Pretty easy lesson. And that was actually 2 lessons. Pretty easy lessons. Okay, so here is the plan between now and Christmas. Okay? We are doing a new lesson today with new information. We are doing a new lesson tomorrow. On Friday, Noelle and Tyson, you guys are completing a review worksheet. You should probably have time to finish it in class. If you do not get it done in class, it will be homework over the weekend, and that will be your last grade of the second quarter. On Tuesday or Monday, I will collect that worksheet and we'll do an in-class activity. I may take a grade on that, like a completion grade. I haven't decided, so that may be your last grade. And then Tuesday, we are doing our Glow Bingo celebration if you got your PBIS points in the morning. And in the afternoon, we are meeting with our Eagle Squad mates and giving them our gift to them and watching a movie with them. Your points. Your green folder. It's bingo with black lights. Okay, but first we got to get through these weeks. And then next Wednesday is our Christmas party and our gift exchange. Shh. Turn to page 38. Shh. I might be wrong. No, that's right, page 38. Oh, I went to 338, that's why. Hey guys, I need you quiet. I can't talk over you, and I refuse to talk over you. Okay, in this lesson, I'm going to add to something Miss O'Brien taught you last year. Everybody knew what I meant when I did something in a second, but only 2 people knew what it meant. So I'll test you guys to see if you can do better than my class. Now, in this lesson, you must know the different places in the place value chart. So if you don't know Like if I gave you empty boxes, if you couldn't fill it in with tens, ones, tenths, hundreds, thousands in the proper spot, that's something you need to memorize, okay? It should be up here already. If it's not, there is one right there on page 38, okay, for you to refer back to tonight while you're doing your homework. So we're going to start by just doing this problem, and then we're going to bump over to the other page. It says, describe the relationship between the value of the digits in the decimal 0.027 and their place value position. How do I place that in my place value chart? Michaela? Okay, how many tens are there?
2.
Look at our decimal here. They give me the decimal. Do I have any tens? Do I have any ones? No. 0. There's my decimal point. So 0, 2, 7. Which digit is in the thousandths place, Madison?
7.
The 7. Now, if I have a 7 in the thousandths place, what is its value, Noelle? 7 thousandths. Let's write that as a fraction. And then we're going to write it as a decimal because we should be able to do both. How do we write 7 thousandths as a decimal? Caleb?
0.07.
That would be 7 hundredths. So what do you need to do? Add one more 0 because the thousandths place is the third digit. Okay, so we need 3 decimal places for it to be in the thousandths. So we need to make the single digit 7 into a 3-digit number. So we would do 007. Now, before I go on, we're going to go ahead and take some notes right here in this spot. That'll be the bulk of your notes, the bulk of the new stuff for tonight. Okay, if I stand here and I do this, what words pop into your head when I do this? Rory?
1, 2,
No. Noelle?
5 times to the left.
She's on the right track, but this is right. Cam?
3 times to the right.
Not 3 times. Aubrey?
5 times.
No. Kylie?
4 times to
No. Brendan?
6. Wait, no.
It's times to the right. You guys are off on the first thing. Grayson?
1 to the right.
No. Colby?
4 times 2 to the right.
No. Callie?
3.
See, that's what Miss O'Brien teaches you those tricks, but you remember hearing them, but you don't remember them. Arabella?
2.
Nope, you're relating the digits. How does each digit relate to the digit on its right? Aubrey?
2 times.
So my class beat you. You guys are at big fat 0. Kylie?
4 times 1 to the right.
No, think about these numbers, guys. Let's turn off our math brain, turn on our common sense brain. If we're looking at the number 22, we're relating this number to the number on the right. How much greater is it than the number on its right? The values. Let's go back to value. What is the value of this 2? 20. What is the value of the other 2? Dylan, how does 20 relate to 2? 10 times to the right. Okay, last year, you guys just did that direction. You learned 10 times to the right. Okay? So in this class, to show that, and I'm going to give you lots of examples, but I'm just giving you some basic notes here. For your work for these, you'll always draw 2 blanks. When we get into real problems, we're going to label those with what place they are. Draw your 2 blanks. And then we're going to draw an arrow. If we're comparing this place to that place, we will draw an arrow. When we see that arrow, which way is it pointing? Right. It's pointing to the right, which means it's times 10. 10 times to the right. But now you're older and your brain's growing a little bit. We're going to have a different type of problem where we start here and we go that direction. So we're actually going to be comparing a digit to the one on its left. Any ideas on what this one may be, Cam?
A decimal.
Okay, what do you mean a decimal?
Like tens, hundreds,
So we're still comparing. So it'll still ask me how many times is much or how many times is large. Colby?
If it was a 2, wouldn't it be 2 times to the left?
No.
1 times left?
Waylon?
10 times to the left?
It's not 10 times because we are now saying if I'm looking at this, which we said the value is 2, and we're going this way, and that value is 20. Madison? Okay, so Madison is saying if moving to the right is times 10, then moving to the left is divide by 10. Do you guys agree? That's true. She is correct, but I have to give it as times. So does anybody know, and this is new, this is something new, so everybody should be listening. Dividing by 10 is the same thing as multiplying by something. This is new information. I think I've kind of thrown it out there before, but we haven't really learned it. Kylie? 1. So dividing by 10 and multiplying by 1, let's test it. What's 20 divided by 10? 2. What's 20 times 1? Okay, so it's not 1. Callie? 2. What's 20 divided by 10?
2.
What's 20 times 2?
40.
Did we get the same answer? Nope. So this is something where if I do both of these math problems, I would get the same answer. So Kylie guessed 1, and our answer was 2 and 20. Callie guessed 2, and our answer was
40.
what? 20 divided by 10 was 2 and 40. So we're getting further away. Okay, Michaela's guessing 0. So 20 divided by 10 is 2. 20 times 0 is 0. So what that means is our answer is between Michaela's guess and Kylie's guess. What was your guess?
0.
Kylie, what was your guess?
1.5.
What numbers are between 0 and 1? Emma? That's not a type of number. What types of numbers are between 0 and 1, Madison? Fractions or decimals. Now, this is new. You guys know that when you multiply by 1, the answer is itself. You know that if you multiply by 0, the answer is 0. When you multiply by a fraction, because it's less than 1, your answer will actually go down from what you started with. So multiplying by a fraction is the same thing as dividing. Multiplying by a fraction kind of, if it's a fraction less than 1, then it's the same as multiplying. So I'm going to give you this one, and then we're going to practice it. I want you to write this. Dividing by 10 and multiplying by 1/10 is the exact same math. Okay, so here's a question. What is 1/10 times 70 if you know that multiplying by 1/10 is the same thing as dividing by 10? Noel?
7/700?
No. Arabella? 1/10 times 70. Madison? 7. 1/10 times 70 is 7. Because multiplying by 1/10 is the same thing as dividing by 10. So really, in your head, you just have to do 70 divided by 10, which is 7. You can all multiply by unit fractions. You just don't think you can. So let's try some more. What is 1/10 times 90? 1/10 times 90, Caleb? 9. Good job. What is 1/10 times 30? Michaela? No. Easton? 3, because in your head you're doing 30 divided by 10. What is 1/10 times 100? Colby? 10. Good job. What is 1/10 times 60? Callie? 6. Okay. So now here's a challenge one. If that's true for all unit fractions, which means fractions that have a numerator of 1, it's that same trick. Who thinks they know what 1/4 of 36 is? 1/4 of 36. Waylon? 9. What did you do in your head? Yeah, so multiplying by a unit fraction is the same thing as dividing by the denominator. Okay, and again, we're not quite there yet, but I'm going to start throwing that out there. We'll get back to that in 6th grade. We'll talk about it a little bit more later on in 5th grade too. So, the new stuff today, if we are comparing 2 places and you're comparing it one to the one on its right, it's 10 times larger. If you're comparing it to the one on its left, it's 1/10 times as large. Okay? So let's finish out this example here.
When it's the 1/10, all you have to do is just take away your 0 and you're doing like...
Yeah, but it's going to ask how many times is large. So your answer will be 10 or 1/10. So if this digit were to move to the hundredths place, so it's telling me if I took this 7 and moved it here, what would be its value? Noel?
700.
7/100ths. So 7 over 100. How do I write 7/100ths as a decimal? Madison? 0.07. If the digit were to move to the tenths place, so we're taking that 7 from there, we're moving it from the hundredth, now we're moving it here, what would its value be? Colby? 7/10. Michaela, how do I write that as a decimal? 0.7. Okay, and then it says the digit in each place has a value 1/10 times as much as its place to its left. And we can see that. Each one, the value got a little bit less, because we're moving to the left. Okay, now look over on the right side. This is more like what our problems are going to look like tonight. It starts off with old stuff. Use each model to write a decimal in standard form, which just means regular decimal, and in word form. What else do you think I'm going to ask you for from the model? What else can we do besides decimals and words? Fractions. Someone tell me the fraction for that model. Callie? 55 hundredths. So let's write that. 55 hundredths. Drake, what is the decimal for 55 hundredths? 0.55. And then I'm going to go ahead and write the word because we already said it. 55 hundredths. Okay, so that's old news. But then it gives us this problem out to the side that says the value of the digit in the tenths place is blank times as much as the digit in the hundredths place. This is either times 10 to the right or 1/10 times to the left. So when you see these, I do make you show a little bit of work so you have an absolute answer. I'm going to take the thought out of it. We always start with two blanks representing two different places in our place value chart. In this one, what two places is it wanting me to focus on? Arabella? The tenths and the hundredths. So if one of these was the tenths place and one of them was the hundredths place, which one would have to be which? Mila?
The first one will be 10.
Yeah, this one would have to be the tenths place, and this one would have to be the hundredths place. So I'm not forcing you to draw out the whole place value chart. Just focus on the ones that it's talking about. And then we're starting at the tenths place, so put a little dot there. That's the one we're starting at. And we are comparing it to this one over here. What should our brain be thinking now? What should my brain? Why do you think I forced you to write that? Waylon? Okay. How do I decide if it's times 10 or times 1/10? Sophia? Yeah. Yeah, if I'm moving to the right or the left. So on this one, we're going to write out that we're moving to the right. So that equals times 10. So then up in the blank is 10 times as much. Okay, let's look at the next one. Who can give me the fraction? Brendan, can you give me the fraction for number 6? 99 hundredths. I'm going to write it out here. You guys can write it on the line. 99 hundredths. Decimal. Caleb? 0.99. And words, Audrey? 99 hundredths. Now we go to the problem on the side. The value of the digit in the hundredths place is blank times as much as the digit in the tenths place. We're going to draw our two blanks. Drake, what are we going to label them in this problem?
H and T.
Okay, which one is which? Hundredths and tenths.
H is hundredths.
I know, but which blank is the hundredths place? So you have to think back to the place value chart. So this one would be tenths, and this one would be hundredths. There were our two places. But in the problem, we're starting at the hundredths place, and we're comparing it to the one on its left. If it's left, what is my answer, Michaela?
1/2.
Not 1/2. Kylie?
1/10.
Yeah, it's 1/10 times. So is 1/10 times as much as the digit in the tenths place. I want you to take a minute and try and do all of number 7 and all of number 8. Once you have the answers, look up. We're going to talk about the work we should have with them. But check your answers first.
There's some on the top. There's 3 on the very top. Should be 25. This should be, I got 25.
No, because this is not a new block. That's just the top of the front one that you're seeing. Remember we talked about that yesterday? If I color the tops, that's a whole nother row. But that top is still just that one block. You're just seeing 2 sides of it. Okay, let's do the work for the new stuff. Over here, we're comparing the thousandths and the hundredths. Noelle, if one of these is the thousandths place and one of them is the hundredths place, which one is which?
The first one is the thousandths place.
What do you mean by first one, left or right?
The left one is the thousandths.
Which way's left? Okay, that's incorrect. Guys, use page 38 if you need it. That gives you the place value chart. Michaela, which one is the thousandths place? This one is the thousandths place. That one is the hundredths place. And we're going from the thousandths to the hundredths. So I'm moving left, which equals times 1/10. Next one, it's the same 2 places. It's still hundredths and thousandths. So hundredths, thousandths, but this one I'm going from the hundredths to the thousandths, so I'm moving to the right, which is 10 times. Okay, again, if you have to refer back to page 38 for the place value chart, then look back at page 38 for the place value chart. Emma, what's your question?
I don't get how you know, like, which way.
So it's in the order. We are comparing the hundredths place to the thousandths place. So we start here and we're going to the thousandths place. Does that make sense? It's just the order that it gives it to us in the problem. Where are we starting? Where are we going? Okay, go ahead and turn the page. Noelle?
Is the smaller, like, hundreds and thousands, the hundreds is smaller, so is that one always?
No, the thousandths is smaller. So think about it as splitting like a sandwich. If you split a sandwich into tenths, and you split a different sandwich into hundredths, and a different sandwich into thousandths, if you're really hungry, which one would you want? The tenths, because it's the bigger, you would get the bigger chunk, because you're splitting one whole into 10 pieces, one whole into 100 pieces, or one whole into 1,000 pieces. Yeah, so the closer to the decimal point are the larger numbers. Okay, let's turn the page. Actually, sorry, flip back to that page. There's something we have to notice. What do you notice about all of the numbers that we just did that with? Rory?
They're all, like, double numbers.
Yeah, it's the same digit. That only applies if it's a repeated digit. So like 0.222, 0.88, or 88.88, or 55.555. Okay, that rule only applies if the digit is the same for every place. Okay, so the numbers have to be repeated. So let's look at number 9 on the next page. Micah asked for directions to a local park. He was told to go 0.33 miles south to get to the park. The value of the digit in the tenths place is how many times as much as the value of the digit in the hundredths place. Okay, Emma Lapp, I'm going to have you walk me through this one. What two places am I focusing in on? Okay, so the first thing I have to do, draw my two blanks and figure out if those were in my place value chart, and there's one at the bottom of this page too, which one would be the tenths place, Emma? The first one, this one would be tenths, this one would be hundredths. Now, to decide on my arrow, I go back to the problem. The value of the digit in the tenths place, which means that's my starting point, is how many times as much the value in the hundredths. So I'm comparing it to that one. Tyson, which way is my arrow going? Which direction? To the right. So it's moving to the right, which means it's times 10. How do I write that? I want to write times 10 as much. Arabella? No, I want to write 10 times to the right because it's saying the value of the digit in the tenths place is how many times as much the value of the digit in the hundredths place. Colby?
How many is your hint? So it's 10 times as.
Yep.
10 times more.
So we would just write 10 times as much.
Because you have your hint.
Yep. Okay, now number 10. In science class, Abigail's frog weighed 88 or 0.88 kilogram. What is the value of the digit in the tenths place? So it's not asking me to compare anything. It's just saying the tenths place right there. What is the value of that digit? Brennan? 8 tenths, because we have an 8 in the tenths place. So the value is 8 tenths, or I could write that as 0.8. Should we know how to write that both ways? Yeah, what is the value of the 8 in the thousandths place? It doesn't ask this, but it could. Michaela? Nope, the value of the 8 in the thousandths place. Dylan? 8 thousandths. So that would be 8 over 1,000 or 0.008. Or sorry, no. I said it wrong. It's an 8 in the hundredths place. You answered my question. I just looked at it wrong. Okay. You may need to look back at your notes when you're doing your homework tonight, okay? Your homework is page 41 and 42. There's only 5 questions altogether. Some of them have more than one part. And then your weekly worksheet is due on Friday, okay? Okay, you guys can go ahead and go. I will see you tomorrow.